You pick up your phone. You dial a number. Somewhere on the other side of the city, or the other side of the world, someone else's phone rings. In under 2 seconds. But between the moment your finger touched that dial button and the moment the other phone rang, something extraordinary happened. An invisible chain of events that spanned cell towers, undersea cables, satellite relays, and data centers was set in motion at the speed of light, all to carry the sound of your voice to another human being. We make phone calls every day and understand almost nothing about how they actually work. Here's the full story. When you speak into your phone's microphone, the microphone converts the physical pressure waves of your voice into an electrical signal. This electrical signal is an analog wave, a continuous, smoothly varying electrical current that mirrors the shape of your voice's sound waves. But modern mobile networks don't transmit analog signals. They transmit digital data, binary numbers, sequences of zeros and ones. So the first thing your phone does is convert your voice from analog to digital. This process is called analog to digital conversion, and it happens inside your phone's processor thousands of times per second. The phone samples your voice's electrical signal 8,000 times per second for a standard voice call. At each sample, it measures the precise amplitude of the electrical signal and converts that measurement into a binary number. 8,000 samples per second, each one a number, each number converted to binary. That stream of numbers, representing the shape of your voice, is compressed, packaged, and prepared for transmission. This compression is significant. The raw, uncompressed digital voice data would require enormous bandwidth. Instead, your phone uses a codec, a compression algorithm, to reduce the data to a fraction of its original size. The codec strips out frequencies the human ear can't easily distinguish, fills in predictable patterns, and delivers a compressed audio stream that sounds natural despite being a fraction of the original data. This is why phone calls sound slightly different from how people actually sound in person. You're hearing a compressed, processed approximation of their voice. Your phone's compressed, digitized voice data is now transmitted wirelessly to the nearest cell tower. This happens via radio waves, electromagnetic radiation in frequency bands allocated specifically for mobile communications. Your phone and the tower communicate in these frequencies, establishing a connection through a process called a handshake, where both devices agree on the channel, the encoding method, and the authentication credentials that confirm your phone is authorized on the network. The cell tower you're connected to is not the endpoint. It's a gateway. The tower is connected via fiber optic cable or microwave link to a facility called a base station controller, which manages the radio channels for multiple towers in an area. The base station controller connects to a mobile switching center, essentially the routing brain of the mobile network, which determines where your call needs to go. If you're calling someone on the same network, the mobile switching center routes the call through its own infrastructure. If you're calling someone on a different network or a landline, the call travels through interconnections between carrier networks, agreements and physical connections that allow different companies' systems to pass traffic to each other. For a local call, this routing process takes milliseconds. The network locates the recipient's phone through the home location register, a database maintained by the carrier that tracks which cell tower each active phone is registered to in real time. Every time your phone moves between cells, it silently updates this database. The network always knows, within a few hundred meters, where every active phone is. Once the network knows which tower the recipient's phone is registered to, it transmits the call signal to that tower. The tower reaches out to the recipient's phone wirelessly. The phone receives the signal, rings, and when the recipient answers, a two-way voice channel is established. Your compressed, digitized voice data travels from your phone to a tower, through fiber optic cables, through routing centers, back through another tower, and is decompressed and converted back to audio in the recipient's earpiece, in both directions simultaneously, with a total delay typically under 100 milliseconds. For international calls, the path is longer but the principles are the same. Your voice data travels through the domestic network, crosses to international gateway exchanges, and may travel via undersea fiber optic cables. Massive bundles of glass fibers lying on the ocean floor, carrying the majority of the world's international voice and data traffic. There are approximately 400 active undersea cables today, totaling over 1.2 million kilometers, carrying 95% of intercontinental internet and voice traffic. A phone call. Something so ordinary that most people make a dozen of them a day without a second thought. And yet underneath that simple act sits an infrastructure of almost incomprehensible complexity. Engineered, maintained, and expanding in real time to carry the voices of billions of people across land, sea, and sky. The microphone in your hand, the cell tower outside your window, the undersea cable running silently across the Pacific floor, the database that knows where every phone is, all of it activating in fractions of a second, every time you press call. We live surrounded by invisible miracles. We just rarely stop long enough to notice them.